UC Athletics. Hopefully we have a lot of Bearcat fans in the crowd today. If you're not familiar with UC Athletics or some things have changed, we did join the Big East Conference in 2005 in our Division I. We have 18 varsity sports here at the University of Cincinnati. Best part about all of this is all of our on-campus sporting events are free to full-time students. So football, basketball, women's lacrosse, track and field, soccer, completely free of charge. In most cases, all you have to do is show up with your student ID in the door and join an athletic event on campus. Even if you're not a huge fan of football or basketball or soccer, they're great ways to get involved on campus. Take a couple of your friends from the residence halls, head to the game, get some hot dogs and some sodas. It's a fantastic way to really feel connected to your university. UC also offers dozens of club and intramural sports. So if you played sports in high school, didn't quite make it Division I, by all means continue doing that on campus. In most cases, the intramurals are only about $50, so with an 11-person flag football team, very little cost for students to get involved on campus. Also, our Campus Recreation Center. This facility opened in 2007. One of the larger campus recreation centers in the country when it opened, offer a lot of amenities in there. It was over a $200 million investment. And what's really cool about that facility is there's a residence hall, a dining center, and the rec center, as well as classrooms all in one facility. So it's a live, learn, play facility right on campus. So it's a fantastic way to stay fit. There's a lazy river inside there. You have a rock climbing wall, as well as, of course, the athletic machines. They do offer massages. Yes, massages, $45 for an hour. So a great way to pitch students as well. If you do have a student that approaches you who would like to actually play Division I sports here at the University of Cincinnati, there are a couple of options in your alumni manual. You are going to have that contact information. Also, if you go to gobearcats.com, the athletics website, there is a page with all the numbers for the Division I sports on campus, and they will contact them directly to set up a meeting and go through that process. So not something that the admissions office would do here. Now, funding your education. This is probably one of the most important questions that we had at college and career fairs. The University of Cincinnati offers tens of millions of dollars in scholarships every year. Our primary scholarship competition is called Cincinnatus. Now, how Cincinnatus works is students have to have a 3.2 cumulative GPA to be eligible for Cincinnatus. This does not necessarily mean they're going to receive a scholarship, but if they have a 3.2, their file will be re-reviewed for that scholarship. Now, there are two groups of Cincinnatus students. The first group are called our Cincinnatus Scholars. These students are offered $2,000 a year scholarships at the University of Cincinnati. Those are renewable as long as they maintain a 3.2 GPA and do 30 hours of community service, so all 4 years on campus. A second group that we have are called the Cincinnatus Scholars. These students are invited down for an actual scholarship competition. Usually takes place in late January or early February. Students will come down, there's a whole day of competition. They take a look at your personal statement, your co-curricular activities, your test scores, your GPA, essentially everything that we have received from you to award these scholarships. Now, if you're invited down for the competition, you're guaranteed $3,500 per year, and you can win up to a full ride scholarship, including room and board and a book allowance. Cincinnatus is a relatively unique program along those lines, as opposed to us saying if you have this GPA and this test score, you get X amount of dollars. We try to break that down a little bit deeper, look at students beyond the black and white, looking at their co-curriculars, their personal statement, how they work in groups, how they work under pressure. Really try to find out and let these students compete for those scholarship dollars. Also, it gives a student with a 3.5 and a 27 the opportunity to compete for a full ride, just like a student with a 36 and a 4.0. So it's really giving that opportunity to all students that qualify for Cincinnatus. Next, we have the Darwin T. Turner Scholarship. This scholarship is for underrepresented student populations. That could be based on first-generation students. It can be based on particular counties that we're targeting. There are a number of things that are taken into account for the Darwin T. Turner. Next, we have our Cincinnatus Excellence Scholarship. If you're familiar with it, it was formerly UC 21, and this is for all of our National Merit finalists. So if you have any National Merit finalists asking questions, you can forward them onto this information. We also have the Alumni Scholarship, so maybe we have some of your children who are applying, hopefully. That can be taken care of through the Alumni Association and the Alumni Office here on campus. And last but not least, the Choose Ohio First Scholarship. A very unique scholarship, and this scholarship is for our STEM disciplines, so science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine, as well as education in any of those fields. So if you have math or science teachers, students aspiring to do that, that's a great way for them to win that scholarship as well. These scholarships are determined by college, so as long as your students have the completed application, the colleges will contact them about those programs. Now, this program was designed to help students to continue studying these programs, also provides, once again, a smaller community of students who are in the same program, the same interest level as that student, to kind of, again, once again, break a university as large as UC into smaller segments for the students. Now, my favorite part about the scholarships here at UC is that all of our scholarships, with the exception of the alumni scholarship, are drawn directly from the general application. So you're going to have four scholarships that you're going to be eligible for as long as you have an application completed by December 1st, and we'll get into some of those deadlines in just a moment as well. Financial aid, if you're not familiar, the FAFSA, the free form for federal financial aid, becomes available January 1 of the student's incoming freshman year. So this year, January 1, 2011. We encourage every student to fill out the FAFSA, even if they don't think they're going to be eligible based on their family's income, because that income could change and it's a lot easier to amend the FAFSA than to start from scratch. We also encourage families to fill that out as soon as possible, because a lot of those funds are based on first come, first serve. So the sooner you get that information in, the more eligible you're going to be for funding through the FAFSA. And of course, the old-fashioned way, grants, loans, and employment. There are tons of opportunities for students to receive grants. There are loans that you can discuss. I know that the federal government does secure all of our loans for universities, and so that's something you could discuss with our financial aid office. And we do have an office specifically set up for incoming students, so if they do have any questions, concerns, problems, never hesitate to have them contact that office. There are tons of student employment opportunities as well on campus. Through the rec center, all the offices on campus hire students. The university does function a lot of the administrative things based on student help. So really encourage students to get involved and employed on campus as well. And of course, throughout this process, we're going to offer you assistance through the admissions office, through the financial aid office. And one website we always encourage to our students, it's called fastweb.com. That website is available through the financial aid site, and essentially it's a database of free scholarships those students can apply for. So university-wide scholarships are great, but there are tons of private sources that offer those kinds of opportunities as well. Now, my favorite part of the presentation here, how do we apply to University of Cincinnati? There are 3 steps to apply. First is the application. Now, the application primarily is done online, and actually for autumn of 2012, we're going to go completely paperless. So this is the last fall we'll be accepting paper applications, so something to keep in mind as well. Associated with that is the $50 application fee that comes to our office. Next, the personal statement and co-curricular activities list. Now, these 2 things are very important, especially when it comes to honors and scholarship consideration. These are huge components of those decisions when they are made. Next, the ACT or the SAT, we will accept either score. We don't prefer one over the other. However, we do require 2 things. One, that they're sent directly from the testing agency, so we cannot accept them off of the transcript or mailed in personally by the student. And second, we do require the writing score. So very important to do the writing portion on at least one of those ACT or SATs. We don't require it every time, so if you want to take it multiple ACTs, we don't need a writing score every time. Last but not least, of course, is your high school transcript mailed in by your counselor. And we have this little thing called the college prep form that we request guidance and students to fill out. Essentially, every school is a different name for math, different credit hours, different grading scale, and this form standardizes that so it can help make your process of getting your application and that transcript coded a lot quicker, and hopefully you'll get your decision earlier. Now, after all 3 of these things are in, you'll have a completed application. It's usually a 4 to 6 week turnaround before you're going to hear back on a decision, and hopefully it will be a good one. Now, some important deadlines to keep in mind. And the newest deadline here at the University of Cincinnati is November 1st, and that's for our musical theater program in the College Conservatory of Music. So that means all 3 components have to be in by that date, so not just the application, and everything else can trickle in. We do need all 3 parts at that time. Next deadline, November 15th. This is for our architecture and design programs in the College of Design, Architecture, Art, and Planning. And next, our big deadline, December 1st. This is for scholarships, the honors program, College Conservatory of Music, all the other programs, as well as our College of Engineering and Applied Science. So, if you have students interested in any of those things, it's very important that December 1, those things need to be on campus. It's not a postmark date. It's not a I'm thinking about it date. They have to be on campus by that date. So, very important to emphasize that to the families. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, why are there so many deadlines at this university? At UC, we admit directly to programs. So when students fill out their application, they're going to put their top 3 choices for what they want to study. Each program at UC is going to have their own set of criteria they look for. So although the minimum standards for the university are a 2.7, a 21 on the ACT or a 980 on the SAT, and you have to be in the top 60% of your class. That may get you into an arts and sciences program, biological studies perhaps. But if you're looking at architecture and DAP, that program is probably looking at more like a 27 or a 28 and a 3.7 or a 3.8. So what I encourage families to do is if you go to uc.edu, click on Future Students, on the right-hand side, you can search all of our programs by keyword, and that'll bring up median ACT, SAT, and test scores from last year's incoming class to give them an idea of what they're looking at for competition for that program. So it's also important to emphasize to parents and students that when they're picking those top 3 choices, they really do spend some time to find out which one they really want. Because when we review applications, we're going to go solely by that number 1 choice and do anything we can to get you into number 1. So if it's a toss-up, that's okay, but try to get them to really dig down and find out which one they really want for their number 1 choice. Does anyone have any questions?